I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Moving on, in the Grade 3 ABRSM Discovering Music Theory workbook, we move on to page 15 now, continuing with the topic of compound time. And we look now at grouping notes and rests in this new compound time format. The principle, however, is exactly the same as we've always done, where we need to group to show each new beat. It's just that in this context, compound time, because we're dividing into threes, we need to show each dotted crotchet beat, whereas previously, because we were in simple time where it was divided by twos, we just showed each crotchet beat. So we need to show each new beat. And so we have to use ties to divide those groups, and we have to beam to reflect that dotted crotchet unit. And so we can see that we have 3 quavers beamed to show a dotted crotchet beat, because although we're counting 6 quaver beats, 6/8 is duple time, and we need to show beat 1, beat 2. Ultimately, we're showing 2 groups. We're counting in groups. If you were to just count it only ever in the quaver beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as you were playing, I think you'd find, and it would become evident just how lumpy that would be. It wouldn't flow. Whereas group 1 and 2, 1 and 2, then it sort of flows. And we need to just remember that we're always showing now this group of 3. So, that's always the same principle. We've always got to finish off each beat before we show the next beat. And we always need to show where that next new beat starts. And so we can see 2 semis equals a quaver, 2 semis equals a quaver, 2 semis equals a quaver. There's our 3 quaver beats. We've grouped them as a dotted crotchet beat. Just as before, we had 4 semiquavers beamed to show each crotchet beat. Now we could have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't. There we go. 6 semiquavers to show a dotted crotchet beat. So we can see very easily, we wouldn't beam them in any other way, and it makes performing so much easier when we can see beat 1, beat 2, beat 1, beat 2. As we come to look at some of the exercises where these be incorrectly beamed, it does prove the point that it makes it almost impossible to play, because you just can't count where the beats fall. So we do need to use ties, because, for example, here we could not write this as a crotchet, because we need to show 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The beam must start to show. We could not write quaver, quaver, crotchet, quaver, quaver, because we see suddenly that's moved us into compound time. Into simple time, whereas we need to show we're in compound time. So we do need to make use of ties to show each group of 3 there. And so there's 1, 2, 3 quaver beats. There's 1 quaver beat. There's 1 quaver beat. There's 1 quaver beat. We can see there's beat 2. There's beat 3. The only exception is we can have a dotted minim. We don't need to do dotted crotchet with a tie. We don't need to do that. A dotted minim is acceptable, because we can see that's going to be 2 dotted crotchet beats in length. The same rule for rests, of course, always applies. Each new beat must have a new rest. And so we're now showing each dotted crotchet beat in terms of each new beat must have a new rest. So we need to finish off beat 1 before we start beat 2. We have to divide the rests so that we don't cross over that grouping. The exception is exactly the same as in simple time. We know that in 4/4 we can, so long as we don't go over the halfway point, we can have a minim rest, can't we? Showing that. And so in 12/8, for example, we can have a dotted minim rest in exactly the same way. We don't cross over the halfway point in quadruple time, but we do have that half of a bar option to just show a complete half a bar silence. And so we can see here that there's beats 1 and 2. We've not crossed over the halfway point. There's beats 3 and 4. However, here, because the rest would be over beats 2 to 3, we could not have the dotted minim rest because that would be crossing over the halfway point in the bar. And so here we could not have this as a crotchet beat rest because there's beats 1, 2, 3 quaver beats, 1, 2, 3 quaver beats. We can't cross over. We've got to split that to complete beat 1 and start beat 2. We must show the start of each new beat with our rests. However, if it's complete bars silence, we don't worry about whether it's a dotted semi-breve or a dotted minim or anything. It's still just this semi-breve rest is just still the shortcut for a complete bars silence. So let's just move on to this last little point here, and this is the kind of the tricky thing to watch out for because we are looking to reflect a dotted crotchet. And so if part of that is silence, we need to be careful how we show that silence. It changes depending whether it's the first part of the beat or the second part of the beat. So we can have a crotchet rest and then a quaver, that's okay, but you cannot have a quaver and then a crotchet rest. That is wrong. And the only way that I can think that it makes sense is, imagine we've got a dotted crotchet. There's our crotchet, there's the dot. You would not have a dot and then a crotchet. That just doesn't make sense at all, does it? And so we have to have a crochet rest at the beginning is okay, but if it's at the second part of the beat, if it's like quaver beats 2 and 3, we have to show each quaver beat. And so that is one little idiosyncrasy that you just have to be careful for. And I just think that's best. I don't know if that's absolutely the reason why, but it makes sense to me that that's the dotted crochet, whereas you don't have the crochet after the dot. And so that's the same reflected in the rests also. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons, you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.